Summit Learning Charter School login page for Canvas. I noticed the URL is summit.instructure.com. You can access this on a computer, you can access this on a tablet, or on a phone. And any web operable iPhone or Android device also works great as well to log into the website. But we're going to log into your Parent Observer account here. So we automatically make accounts for every parent or guardian or learning coach using the email address given to us when you register. So whatever your main family email address that we have on record is. And then by default, the password is set to parent user and the number 1. So make sure you get those down. Definitely contact someone if you need some help getting your login information. I'm going to go ahead and log in and just show you guys around some of the features and capabilities that you guys have as parent observers. Okay, so here I am in, let's see, for the site, the main Canvas activity page. This is our home landing page. There's a lot of information on here. You'll see this fill up with announcements that we give to learning coaches throughout the year about what's going on with our school. You may see messages from teachers. You may see information about your student and classes that you're observing in terms of due dates and assignments. You'll see just a lot of kind of activity information on here to look through. But the first thing I want to start off with is the settings in the top right. In the settings, a couple things I want to point out is you can add email addresses. So for example, if there's a couple of you that want to follow along and be able to log in and track how your students are doing, you can add email addresses. Notice I have 2 in here. So any message that comes through, any notification, any announcement will be sent to both of these email addresses. I can add as many as I want. I can also add phone if I want to be able to get text notifications on things. I can put in my cell phone number and my carrier. It's super easy. I definitely have to verify it with my phone. But you can set up text notifications, email notifications. It makes it a really nice way to stay connected. We use Canvas a lot for just announcements, for messages, for trying to get information out to everybody in our school. So the more connected you are, the more aware you are of what's happening. Some of the other things you may want to change is your actual notification preferences. If I click on notifications here, we can see I can choose how I want to receive a lot of notifications. The big ones for parents would be announcements. Do you want to be notified of an announcement right away, daily, a summary of all the announcements, or weekly, or do you not want to receive any announcements? You may want to opt out of one email and maybe have another email get announcements. You can change the frequency that you're getting notifications from us. The other thing you may want to do is teachers will often message parents of students if they have concerns or if they just want to give a good report out. So do you want to receive those conversation messages? Do you want to receive those as soon as possible, weekly, daily, not at all, by text, by email, by both? You can come in here and turn things off or on, or how much you want to be notified about things. So definitely feel free to come in and customize these to what you prefer as a parent. But that's all in the settings there. Okay. The other thing I wanted to go over is right next to settings is the inbox. You'll notice right here is where you actually receive messages. So it's sort of a built-in email system. As a parent or learning coach, you'll get emails or notifications about what's going on. So you can see things over for field day at the end of the school year, math practice over the summer for your students, career fair, volunteering. These are things that most learning coaches would want to be connected with. So you can come in here, click on a message, read about it, reply, do all those kind of normal email functions. If you want to compose a message, so say if you have a concern about how your student is doing in a class and want to know how you can support them, you're automatically linked to all the classes your students have. We'll get into more of this later, but say I want to message the algebra teacher. I can click on the algebra class, click on the contact box there, and I can pull up the list of teachers. I can see, oh, Jonathan Close, I need help for my student. And then when you're done sending the message, That's just as easy as it is. Okay, so that's a little bit about the inbox. Settings and inboxes. The nice thing about inbox is it is directly linked to whatever email you have in your settings. So if I message a parent, it'll not only come in through here, but it'll get forwarded to that actually email. So you could do all this messaging straight from your email. I definitely encourage you to do it on your phone if you don't have it as well. It's my favorite thing. But you can respond back to messages by using whatever email account you do as well, whether it's Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, whether it's through your phone, whether it's through a different computer. You don't have to log into Canvas to read or respond to all your Canvas messages. Okay, so that's settings, inbox. Let's take a look at the menu items here, courses, grades, and calendar. So courses, you're going to see a list of classes, and you're going to say, hey, wait a second, what am I doing as classes? You will only have one class that you are as a student. That's this Learning Coach Support class. We've got a class designed just to give you a lot of resources as a learning coach, to learn more about things, to get tips as a learning coach, just to be part of the learning coach community. So I'm going to click on it here. It's still a little bit of a work in progress. You'll see a bunch of resources about Canvas, a bunch of resources about a lot of the tools we use, a bunch of tips. Your announcements will populate in here that you can read through. There'll be weekly announcements updating you kind of about what's going on in our school and ways to stay connected. So definitely encourage you to be part of looking through this Learning Coach Support class. It's going to be updated. There'll be a lot of great stuff there for you, just to really help you feel involved and really doing well to have your student be successful. The other classes, you'll notice you're enrolled as an observer. So this Algebra 1A and Edgenuity is an observer, Social Media is an observer, World History Live is an observer. That means you're observing the class. In particular, you're going to be linked to a student. So I'll show you in grades here. You're linked to a student. I've got linked to test student for these three classes. So this student is actually taking this class, working through it with a teacher, and you're linked so you can see what is going on. Now, a little bit about these. Some classes are fully in Canvas, such as this World History Live. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And you'll see there are a whole bunch of assignments. It pops right open to a gradebook. And you can see all these assignments. You can see the due dates. You can see whether your student has turned it in or not. You can see what feedback the teacher gave. And one thing I want to point out is it looks right at first like this student is doing phenomenal, right? They're getting, if I go back on grades here, they're getting 116%. So initially as a parent, I might say, wow, good job. You're doing great, Mr. Test Student. But I invite you to look a little bit more carefully. Just come in and click on it, look through, make sure that your student is staying up to date on the dates. Are they getting scores on assignments, or are there things where they're behind and are they not turning things in? Notice this student, they've turned in, they got a 45 out of 45, so there's a score there. And they turned in the 16 out of 16, but they turned in one assignment, got 10 out of 0. So they've only done 3 assignments, and the way it's graded is only grades you initially on what you've turned in. So until the teacher starts putting zeros in for assignments not done, it looks like the student is doing really great, because out of the 3 assignments that have been graded, they've done really well on those 3 assignments. None of the other assignments have been graded yet, so it's not factoring into the overall grade. If you want to give an overall picture, I can uncheck calculation based only on graded, and now I can see that if they had a grade right now, if they're graded on only what they did in the class, they would actually have a 2%. So keep the initial grade with a grain of salt. It's much better to come in here and just double check what have they turned in, what have they done, what's the overall pattern. Are they keeping up? Are their grades doing well as they're keeping up, or are they getting behind? Ask all those types of good questions. Those are great questions to ask as a learning coach. Okay, let's go back out. I can toggle between different classes here. eDynamics and live classes are both good examples of classes that are fully in Canvas. So you can see this eDynamics social media class is also, like, there's a bunch of quizzes, a bunch of text questions, discussion questions. These are all things that the student should do. This one doesn't have any due dates, but most of the times well, all the classes will have due dates to help students know from the start of the term to the end of the term what they need to work at in terms of finishing everything. But I do want to draw your attention to classes that are labeled with Edgenuity or perhaps Odyssey where other classes may not have any grades in Canvas. These are classes that we house in Canvas, so you know that a student's doing Algebra A in Edgenuity, and the student knows they're doing Algebra A in Edgenuity. But notice if I click on it as an observer, it's actually a class that they need to log in into Edgenuity and work on and do this somewhere else. So later on there'll be a video actually showing you as a parent or as a learning coach how to log into Edgenuity and check the grades there. So short story, in Canvas, not all of our classes in Canvas, but a lot of them are, and I wanted you to be familiar with how to check grades in Canvas. Okay, the last thing here is just a quick shot on the calendar. The calendar is nice because you can quickly see, again, for your student, if I go all the way back to when this class had some assignments, you can see when things may do. So if you're working with your student to try and set up a calendar or being aware of what assignments are doing when, what they need to work on this week or what next week, you can come into the calendar and you'll see, as soon as it starts refreshing there, you'll see for this world history class, there's certain assignments that are due a certain date. So a lot of them are due on Sunday. So it's a good thing to kind of help you as a parent, help know your student what they need to do to plan on getting these things done and following up with that. Okay. Let's exit out. The only other last thing I want to point out is you do have to log in to a computer or your tablet to check grades. Unfortunately, there is no real easy way to set up grade notifications. However, as a parent, you can go into your students. Remember that settings place where you could add emails? You can go with your student, log into your student's account, and you can add your own parent learning coach email here next to your student's email, and then set up notifications so that whenever your student does complete an assignment and get a grade, notice there's a grading notification, includes scores about grade changes. If your email address is in here, then you'll get notified about your students' grades and how they're doing. So anytime they do an assignment, you'll get a grade notification once it's graded and gets feedback. So if you're really wanting to stay on top of it and have things sent to you, this might be the way to go. Work with your student to set up your email with their account so that you can, both the student and you as a learning coach can be notified as grades are being done. Okay, that is a really brief introduction into Canvas. Again, if you want to learn more, I definitely invite you to take a look at the Learning Coach Support class. There'll be lots of other stuff there. This is just designed to give you a quick start into getting in, getting around. And most times parents just want to know about how can I check grades, how can I contact the people I need to contact. So I think we went over that. Thank you guys for your patience. I hope this is helpful. Please contact a teacher or staff member if you have any other questions.